Welcome friends to another r/Am I the Jerk Here video. Today we've got a lot of hard-hitting questions, and our first story of the day is from Beneficial Gas 2232. Am I the jerk for giving my mother-in-law the wrong address so she could no longer send her granddaughter gifts? I, 42-year-old male, have been married to my wife, 39-year-old female, for 15 years. We have a wonderful 14-year-old daughter and an 8-year-old son. My wife's mother has some views that I don't agree with. 2 years ago, for our daughter's 12th birthday, she sent her a book about crash dieting that promised something like 10 pounds of weight loss in 3 days. Our daughter was devastated because the underlying message was as clear as day. It was a month until she started eating a whole plate of food for dinner again. Our daughter's a healthy girl. She's highly active, studious, and most importantly, happy. Her grandmother believes that she's not reaching her full potential, whatever that means, and thinks that she'll be on the front covers of some magazines so she can just shed some weight. Since she made these views clear to me, I've made it my mission to block any unsupervised contact, and this includes gifts. About a month ago, with my daughter's upcoming 14th birthday, Grandma texted me asking for our new address. Normally she would ask my wife, but since she didn't answer within 10 minutes, she texted me instead. My wife would have given her a real address, but I was able to respond first with a fake one and tell my wife no response was necessary. I couldn't guarantee that I'd be home to intercept any gifts, and my daughter would open something addressed to her. I gave her some numbers or a street somewhere that I wasn't even sure existed. A couple of weeks later, after my daughter's birthday, I realized that it did not in fact exist as her packages was returned to her. Both she and my wife were furious, and my wife amended the address I gave her before. Grandma insisted that it was a completely innocent package. Well, the day it was scheduled for delivery, I decided to work from home. When it arrived, I opened it up and found a baton twirling uniform, my daughter's hobby. Sound innocent enough? It was at least 2 sizes too small. I sat my wife down with the stupid thing in front of us and said it was clearly intentional, which my wife refuses to acknowledge. Now she and her mother are even madder at me for throwing the uniform into the neighbor's garbage with the neighbor's permission. Did I handle this correctly? I've known people who struggle with issues relating to their weight, feeling like no matter what, they're not small enough, skinny enough. Knowing that if I was in an OP situation, I probably would do the exact same thing because that's the last thing I want my child to have to deal with. It's a vicious mindset, and it's already easy enough as it is to fall into that kind of mindset with the way marketing and advertising and social expectations are being placed upon you. What I would say is you need to have a real heart-to-heart with the wife here, because I don't know how, but the wife is failing to understand what's going on here. Would you guys agree when I say the wife is the biggest problem here? Let me know what you guys think in the comments down below. Our next story is from This Isn't My Actual Account. Am I the jerk for extorting my fiancé for his social security number? I just started a new job and became eligible for benefits. One of the benefits is a free $25,000 life insurance policy. I decided to sign up because it's free, so why not? I put the primary beneficiary as my dad and the secondary as my fiancé. If it pays out, it would pay out 50-50. They needed the beneficiary's info, name, date of birth, contact information, and it asked for social security number too. I called my dad, told him what I was doing. He gave me the info, and that was that. I called my fiancé and asked him, and he immediately got defensive. Why do you need that? What is this for? Valid question, but I had told him at the beginning it was so he could be a beneficiary to my life insurance policy. This isn't some scam, it's through our HR health benefits. He refused to give it to me and was getting angrier and more upset the more I pushed for it, until finally I gave up and just didn't add him because it wouldn't let me add him because the social security number was a required field. When we got home, I asked him what the big deal was, and he basically said that information is his information, and he's not giving it to me. I pointed out to him that since we're getting married, I will at some point likely need his social. I pointed out that he wanted to be added to my insurance after we got married, his job doesn't offer any, and that I would definitely need his social security number for that. Bank accounts, mortgages, credit cards. I'm not posting it on the internet. It's so he can get money in the event I die. Anyway, long story short, we argued. He's adamant his information is his information and he doesn't want to be in the system. I reminded him he was in the military for freak's sake. He's already in the system. Finally, I told him, okay, then I won't add you to my life insurance or health benefits because I can't add you without that information. He responded saying I was extorting and blackmailing him, and then he left for his brothers. Am I the jerk? I don't think OP's the jerk here, but I feel like there's some weird... Maybe there's a misunderstanding, or maybe they're just not feeling like they're heard enough in this situation. Maybe this is the kind of thing where like you just sit them down and you're like, I don't want to come off as aggressive or combative or extorting you. This is why I need it. People give it out for that regularly all the time. And is there anything you don't understand? Or exactly what is it that makes him uncomfortable about it? To me, it just sounds like he doesn't understand it at all and is just afraid of like, maybe once you give up the number one time, you'll never be able to undo it ever again. Little does he know, if you have a social security number, you are the system, you're in the system. Where does he think they come from? Unless, of course, he's trying to hide something that would be attached to his social security number, like, I don't know, could he secretly have lots and lots of debt? I don't know. This next story is from Beautiful Move 7646. Am I the jerk for letting my son go to school in my wedding dress as a way of protesting his friend's suspension? I'm 33-year-old female. My son, 16-year-old male, enjoys cross-dressing and often goes out in effeminate outfits. I don't really care. He's 16 and he can do whatever he wants. Him wearing a dress isn't illegal or dangerous, so I don't care. Recently, one of his friends, 16-year-old female, got suspended for 3 days for wearing a crop top during our school's Spirit Week. The outfit wasn't really provocative or anything, just a teenager wearing a crop top. Apparently, this was enough to warrant a suspension. In response, my son asked if he could wear my wedding dress to school as a response. I said okay, as long as it didn't end up being completely ruined, because I don't really care about that dress anymore. Ex-husband was an abusive jerk, so the dress doesn't hold fond memories to me anymore. My son went to school, and apparently some kid took a picture of him and posted it on Instagram. It circulated to Facebook, where my parents saw the photo. They cussed me out over the phone, saying I shouldn't allow gay slur behavior in my house, that I need to get my son into a church and get him saved, and berated me for almost an hour. I'm the talk of the town and everyone thinks I'm a horrible parent. Am I really that horrible? To a practicing hardcore conservative Christian? Probably. In general, I don't think so. And I think it's kind of awesome that OP's son is going to go at bat and do some kind of outlandish petition because, God forbid, boys see some shoulders. God forbid, boys see some midriff. We won't be able to focus on our studies if we do. And can we also point out that even if he does do cross-dressing, that doesn't mean he's automatically gay at all? This next story is from Fresh Deli 78. Am I the jerk for refusing to compromise on custody after my daughter's father lied about what they were doing? I, 32-year-old female, co-parent with my 13-year-old Lily with her father. We're generally flexible with days, and neither of us have a problem with the other. A few weeks ago, he texted me, could I pick up Lily Friday, September X instead of Y, and drop her off A instead of B? When I asked him why, he said his brother-in-law passed away and his funeral was Saturday, and he wanted to leave Friday. It was in a city several hours away. I agreed to this. I wasn't happy with her missing school, but I compromised. A few days ago, a friend of mine sent me pictures of him with Lily at a ball game from that Friday in the city where his brother-in-law's funeral was. He never told me anything about that. I texted him and asked what was up with that and why he had lied. And he said that he hadn't lied. It'd been a lucky coincidence. Their favorite team was playing in that city, and he figured they might as well go to a game to see some of her favorite players. I asked if she had homework she would be doing, and he said she had plenty of other time to do it, and this was important to him. I am very big on the importance of Lily doing well in school, so this was upsetting to me that he put a child's game and something he wanted to do over her schoolwork. I don't even think she likes the team for any other reason other than to connect with her father, and I think this was mostly for him, because I see all the nostalgia stuff he posts on social media about the team. I told him that he shouldn't have left that out of the plan he gave me, and that I wasn't changing custody anymore for his mother's birthday, and that he could pick her up and then drop her off a few hours later, but he wasn't staying overnight, and I wanted those hours back later. Now he's incredibly upset at me and called me a jerk for overreacting. I just want Lily to understand an education is important and to be prioritized and be surrounded by people that understand that. Am I the jerk? So you mean to tell me that the father of your daughter took her to a ball game that supposedly she likes, and you're upset that she isn't instead at home doing homework? I'm sorry, but God forbid OP's kids ever experience anything. How dare you be at a ball game? You gotta be at home doing homework. How unfun of a parent can you possibly sound? How much you want to bet that when she gets the chance to pick staying with mom or staying with dad, she's going to stay with ball game dad rather than homework for dessert mom? By the way, if you're enjoying these stories, make sure to hit those like and subscribe buttons down below so you never miss any of my daily videos. Our next story is from Lily252. Am I the jerk for hijacking my husband's family guys trip? Every year, the guys in my husband's family go on a trip, and none of the girls have ever been allowed to go. According to my sister-in-law, they've tried for years to be included, but they've never been, and the guys act super secretive about the whole thing. This year, my husband wasn't going to go because he didn't want to leave me home alone, as I'm pregnant. His cousins asked me to come too because they would prefer that to my husband not going and breaking the tradition. I agreed to go, but then I mentioned how I would be bored, and asked my husband if his sister and some of his other female relatives could come too to keep me company. I told him I didn't want to go otherwise, so he invited them, which didn't go over well with the other guys. A few of them are really upset with me and have accused me of hijacking their trip. It's turned into this huge thing, and now the trip might be canceled. Am I the jerk? I think OP's not the jerk here. I think there's nothing really wrong with them having a guy's trip if they want to have a guy's trip. I don't think they should be shamed for wanting to just have a guy's trip, just like they shouldn't be able to complain if you guys turned and had a girl's trip. That said, considering they were allowing the husband to bring OP along, OP was only asking if they could bring other people along. Anything beyond yes or no, and like the dissolution of this whole trip is totally on the group of guys. Either accept bringing more people on, or just accept that the husband can't go because she's pregnant. That's all there really is to it. Our next story is from Historian First 5936. Am I the jerk for sharing my son's teacher's Instagram account with the other parents? My son is 4, and this is his first year in preschool. His teacher's called Mary, and she's roughly in her early 30s, if that matters. We first met her on Monday when dropping him off, and I didn't get the best vibes from her, so I looked her up on social media. She posts provocative photos and is very active politically, going to marches and events and stuff like that. The vibes were already far from immaculate, but what I saw made me dislike her even more. I talked it over with my wife, and we decided to ask some of the other parents what they thought of her. We reached out to them and created a WhatsApp group where we started talking, and I shared her account there. It wasn't well received from most parents either, mostly because of the provocative photos. Nothing happened for a couple of days, but a fellow parent kept tracking her account, and she saw that she had uploaded a selfie with 3 of her students on Thursday. The parents were furious about that, and they went to the district supervisor first thing Friday morning. Since I was the one who started the group, he called me to confirm and hear my side of the story, and he asked me if I would come to his office in the evening. I did. She was there along with a few other parents, and we all started talking and trying to explain the issue. Voices were raised, and at one point, she started accusing me of stalking her, and then sharing her account to perv on her with the other dads. I was like, lady, I was just trying to see what kind of person is going to be teaching my son. But she wasn't having any of it and kept arguing. Things escalated even more, and the other parents demanded that she be removed from the class. I didn't outright concur or join with them, but I didn't object either. The supervisor ordered her to take down the photos, along with any she had uploaded from her previous students, but he didn't reach a conclusion. Rumor has it that he's considering placing her in another school because the year just started, but we'll find out on Monday, I suppose. Anyway, was I the jerk here? Should I have just kept my worries to myself? I think OP is a huge jerk for going around and trying to find somebody's private profile. I think one of the most disappointing things about teachers is the realization that it seems like people kind of expect them to just always be in teacher mode. In this day and age with social media, it seems like teachers are expected to act like Mr. Rogers 24/7. That said, this is a situation where everybody is the jerk here only because the teacher was dumb enough to post pictures with kids in them on their social media. That should never happen. Our next story is from Sands 2019. Am I the jerk for installing a lock on the bathroom door after my brother-in-law kept barging in? I'm female 25, my husband's male 30, brother, male 33, moved in with us after his divorce a few weeks ago. The problem I have is that he started barging into the bathroom whenever I'm using it. He never knocks or anything. Another thing is that he only does this when it's me in the bathroom, not his brother. I told my husband about what I'd noticed, but he laughed it off and called me paranoid. It was embarrassing because his brother would see me exposed and it made me uncomfortable. My husband said he spoke to him and he apologized, but did it again. When my husband and I got married, we promised to not have locks or lock each other out of any room. So the bathroom didn't have a lock. I was really considering getting a lock, and I let my husband know that if his brother walks in on me in the bathroom one more time, then a lock will be instantly installed. He didn't say anything. Well, yesterday, brother-in-law walked in on me showering. He knew I would be in the shower, but barged in, claiming he needed to pee. I had enough. I went out and got a lock and installed it. My husband got home, saw it, and blew up on me saying I violated an agreement that I was part of and went against his wishes being uncomfortable with locks in the house. He demanded I remove it and promised and guaranteed that his brother won't walk in on me again, but I refused. He's been pissed about it since then and is giving me the silent treatment. OP is definitely not the jerk. This is clearly some creepo behavior, and OP's just looking out for themselves in a time where their husband sure isn't looking out for them. Sorry that upon your marriage agreement, OP didn't write in a clause where your creepy brother-in-law keeps barging in the bathroom. This next story is from Throw R.A. Binoculares. Am I the jerk for refusing to return my neighbor's special binoculars unless his wife comes and gets them? I, female 28, recently moved into a new neighborhood. All my neighbors are lovely, especially my next door neighbor, bless his heart, wink wink. He's married and has 2 kids. I noticed that he's been looking towards my house for a while. So far, I'd caught him doing it twice. He had his binoculars with him and was basically seemingly looking at my living room. I hate confrontation, so what I did was close the curtains and go about my day, but it started escalating. The other day, he was peeking at my backyard where I was sitting from his balcony, and his binoculars fell in my backyard. I looked up, and he was gone. He knew that I saw him. I took the binoculars and put them inside. In the evening, he came knocking on my door, asking how I was done and whatnot. I rolled my eyes, but kept it civil. He then brought up the binoculars and said that they must have fell in your backyard earlier today. I was like, wonder how that happened. He said something about his kids probably messing with them and asked if I could go get them for him. I said I have them, but I won't give them to him unless his wife comes and gets them herself. He then looked at me shocked and angry and said that these binoculars are his and they're special because he has them from when he was in the military, and said that his wife has nothing to do with this. I told him that I'll give him them back once his wife shows up and asks for them. All he has to do is send her over. He threw a fit saying he can't send her because then she'll misunderstand the situation. I told him there's no misunderstanding if their kids were really the ones using the binoculars, and insisted I won't give them back till his wife comes and gets them. We got into an argument, but he kept his voice as low as he could, then left looking furious. He's been complaining about me wanting to stir drama and keeps demanding I return his binoculars back to him and leave his wife out of it. Am I the jerk? Forgot his age, he's 37. Can I just say that was a brilliant stroke of genius from OP to say, well, if your wife comes over, I'll give them to her. Dude is clearly guilty. Dude walked away all shameful and stuff. The writing's on the wall. Please, oh please don't tell my wife, but also can I have them back? What, so you can also be a creepo and keep looking at OP? OP should give them like a day or two and then just go over there and find the wife. Hand it to her personally. This next story is from Cakes and Games 90. Am I the jerk for refusing to do my friend's wedding cake at a huge discount? I, 32-year-old female, have a friend Ashley, 33-year-old female, who's getting married the first week of November. We've been friends since we were kids, and I'm also a bridesmaid in her wedding. We've been talking about wedding stuff for the past year, as I recently married in April. So it's been fun doing wedding stuff together until Ashley drops some bad news. The person responsible for the cake for her wedding is moving and is no longer able to do it. She was refunded her money, but now out of a cake. I'm a cake decorator myself. I was a teacher, and this is my first year as a school administrator, but I've held jobs in high-end bakeries and make cakes for fun out of my house. I don't have a cake business as I don't want one. Ashley asked me if I can do her wedding cake. I at first declined as I never do cakes for large events, but with the date coming up and her not being able to find anyone, I caved. Ashley wants a 4-tiered cake with 4 different flavors and 100 cupcakes, 25 of each flavor. The decorations will require me to order specialty molds, and I'll have to hand paint some gold onto the cake as well. Total cost came out to $825, $100 more than the previous baker. Ashley was upset and said I was overcharging, but I showed her the breakdown. I used the same pricing system as one of the bakeries I worked at, and it wasn't even the most expensive one. I told her I would do it for the other quote if she was strapped for money, but then Ashley asked me to do it for only $150. When I asked why, Ashley said since she's my friend, she should get a good deal, and she could use the money to upgrade the hotel for their honeymoon, to think of it as my wedding gift to her. I told her she was getting a good deal as I was willing to go to the price point of the previous baker. But she mentioned that I did my sister's cake for free several years ago and do free birthday and anniversary cakes for my immediate family all the time. I told her family and friends are not the same. Plus, I had more time to do my sister's cake as I had less responsibilities as a teacher back then compared to what I do now. She told me I needed a friend discount. So I said, the discount is you get 0% off 100% of the time, and if you keep bothering me, I'll even add tax. Basically, Ashley didn't like that response and has told the rest of the bridal party what I said. So I'm getting pressure from 9 additional women to drop the price. Though some say to have it instead of dropping it to $150. My parents paid for my wedding, so their main argument is I don't need the money nearly as much as Ashley does, which they only know because they saw me using my parents' credit card several times when out wedding shopping. Only her maid of honor, her sister, thinks Ashley's being unreasonable. My husband thinks I should drop out of the wedding and not give her anything, but he also doesn't like Ashley or her fiancé. He thinks she's a spoiled brat. Am I the jerk? I think OP's not the jerk here, and I think a good friend is going to pay their friend appropriate prices for appropriate things. You don't want to be a bad friend that says, oh, well, hey, since we're buddy-buddy, you can, give me a discount, right? And let's be fair, OP was offering a discount already down to the original price. OP's friend here is just a through-and-through bad friend. They're just trying to take advantage of OP and emotionally guilt-tripping them saying, well, we're buddy-buddy, we're friends. Our next story is from Unique Salt 1013. Am I the jerk for refusing to cancel a trip with my best friend? I, 25-year-old female, have been with my boyfriend, 28-year-old male, for almost 3 months now. I have an upcoming trip with my best friend to Italy that my boyfriend wants me to cancel. We've been planning this trip for months now, booked the tickets 6 months ago, and my boyfriend doesn't care that this was all planned before him. The only reason why he wants me to cancel the trip is because my friend is a guy, 25-year-old male, and my boyfriend doesn't trust us to spend a week together on this trip. We're sharing a hotel room to save some money, but there are separate beds. I've been best friends with this guy since my freshman year of college, and I don't plan on not being friends with him over someone I just recently started dating. I haven't told my friend how my boyfriend feels, and our trip is nearly 3 weeks away. So, am I the jerk for refusing to cancel? I don't think OP's the jerk here. They planned this trip well in advance before the boyfriend was even in the picture. I mean, I don't know if OP has ever given the boyfriend any reason to feel uncomfortable at all, but just the fact that this has already been scheduled before he was around makes OP not the jerk. Also, I think it's a red flag if they're gonna try to keep pressuring you to cancel. Our next story is from No Masterpiece 7661. Am I the jerk for taking money from the dress budget we had to pay for the iPad my fiance's kid broke? My fiance and I are getting married in 3 months. We both have a kid from a previous relationship. My daughter Spencer, 15-year-old female, and her daughter Emma, 8-year-old female. The kids get along just fine, not really close because of their ages, but they're friendly and good. My ex and I bought Spencer an iPad last year, and she uses it more than she uses her laptop. She draws in it both as a hobby and for school. She has some kind of diary and several other things I don't know because I'm not an Apple person. She takes her iPad everywhere, to the point my ex has bought her several cases and things to personalize it. Emma likes it because it looks cute, but both my fiance and I have to tell her that she's not allowed to use it and that we'll buy one for her soon. My fiance said after the wedding, since we're on a budget now, and I agreed because she's the one calling the shots on Emma. Well, Emma likes to sit by the stairs and watch videos on my or my fiance's phone. 5 days ago, she took Spencer's iPad and sat there. She got scared when she heard my fiance calling her and dropped it. It broke the screen completely and my daughter was so sad. I took it to see if it could be fixed, but the guy said it would be cheaper to just buy another one. My fiance said that we could get it when we get Emma's, but that wasn't fair since my daughter shouldn't have to wait that long for a mistake Emma made. Then my fiance said all of her money is currently going to her maid of honors, bridesmaids, and mom's dresses. And I said I'll take the money from there and buy Spence a new one. I guess she didn't believe me because she laughed. And the next day, I went to buy it and paid for it using the card we used for the wedding expenses. It has both of our money in it. Both my fiance and I received notifications when we use it, and when I got home, I dropped my daughter off at my ex's. She came at me, calling me a jerk and saying she'll now have to get cheaper dresses. She's calling me a jerk because I stole from her. I didn't, as I said. It has both of our money and it's a shared account, and says Spence could have waited a bit. I think OP's not the jerk. I think this is a tricky situation since you're having your Brady Bunch merging moment and where the lines are drawn in the parenting and who has to wait for what and who can afford what for who. It's all kinds of like crosswires, but fact of the matter is your fiance's kid broke your kid's things, and I agree that it isn't fair for them to wait. I don't think OP was the jerk here. And our final story of the day is from After Grape 5736. Am I the jerk for refusing to change rooms despite it being the most practical thing? I'm 16-year-old female. My dad, 36-year-old male, married his wife Becca, 42-year-old female, 2 years ago. She has 3 kids, 14-year-old female twins and a 12-year-old male, and I've known them for 5 years now, and I don't really get along with them apart from my stepbrother. For some clarification, my mom's not in the picture anymore, and neither is their dad. My dad just received my grandparents' house. Granny passed away, and we're planning to move there. It has the same amount of rooms, 4, but it has a bigger yard, a basement, and my dad says we can get a pool in a few years. I used to spend weekends at my grandparents', and so I already have a room there, my dad's old room. My grandparents made some renovations so I could have my own bathroom and a bigger closet there. So when my dad said we were moving, he said I had to get rid of half of my furniture because I already have stuff there. I'll admit my room there is nicer than the one I have here because I was my grandparents' only grandchild, and they kept it modern. It was obvious that I was going to keep my room there. Becca didn't say anything at that time because she didn't know the room had a full bath and walk-in closet yet. They visited the house last week to start moving some stuff while my step-siblings and I were at school. And at night during dinner, Becca said that I would have to choose some other room because the girls should get the one I use. Both my dad and I were confused, and she said it was better and the most practical thing since the twins were 2 and they needed a bigger closet and would be better for them to have their own bathroom. I said sorry, but no, because my grandparents did all those modifications for me, and that's been my room for as long as I could remember. The girls and her wanted to push the subject, but my dad didn't let them and told my stepmom that they're gonna talk later. I guess my dad shut the thought down because the twins have been sulking and my stepmom asked me to give it a thought because it wasn't fair for my sisters. The twins straight out called me a jerk, and my friend said I should give up the room because it's true that they need the space more. So, am I the jerk? I think OP's not the jerk here, especially because it was their grandparents' house. I mean, although it was passed down to the dad, I think you could make some kind of argument that there's some inheritance aspect of it, considering they lovingly crafted and modernized that room just for OP. I know it's a little bit more convenient for the two twins to stay in there, but it's been OP's room all their life. Meant for OP, given for OP, customized for OP, it's not fair to take that away from them. But with that being said, that's all the time we have for today. Now, if you want to hear another absolutely crazy Am I the Jerk Here story, click on that left video, or if you missed my latest video, check out the one on the right. That said, I'll see you all next time with some more stories.